What is your most memorable story of petty revenge? I have a friend whose pumpkin full display at the end of his driveway would be run over by the neighborhood jerk. Happened every year. My friend decided to put a stop to it. He withdrew money from his savings account so he would have enough to buy the largest pumpkin he could find, along with several large bags of Quikrete. Filled that puppy up and made a real pretty display. The jackass broke the axle of his shatty car when he hit that pumpkin. Could not drive away. My friend had his car towed away too. That's not petty, that is pro-revenge. I have a similar story. When I was a kid, our mailbox got taken out like once a month. Finally, after the 10th mailbox and post, my dad was fed up, so he got an 8-foot I-beam and buried it 4 feet down and filled in the hole with Quikrete. Next time it got hit, the a-hole wrapped his car around it. Like the mailbox pole was sticking out of the middle of his car. After that idiot, the mailbox was never hit again. My coworker sometimes throws out her lunch in the garbage can at my desk instead of her own, because she claims she can't stand the smell of old ketchup that's been sitting out for a couple hours. I've asked her several times to stop, but she will then just wait until I get up to go to the bathroom and do it, and hide my garbage can under my desk so she thinks I won't see it. Every time she does it, I wait until she goes to the bathroom, take out the little plastic container that she had ketchup in, and put it way in the back of her bottom desk drawer. There's 6 in there now. The oldest is over a month old. So far, she hasn't noticed the smell. Gonna keep doing it and see how long it takes her to notice. Brilliant. I had a college roommate who would walk across the room to dump coffee grounds in my wastebasket instead of into the trash can underneath the coffee maker or into the trash can in the hallway, which was still fewer steps than my trash can. It was weird, but I didn't say anything. Then one day I came back from class to find that she dumped wet grounds into my trash and flung grounds and droplets of coffee all over a couple of my textbooks and pages of homework, which were sitting a foot away. We were rarely in the room at the same time, so I left her a note. Please don't put coffee grounds into this trash can. Thanks. Then I went off to another class. When I came back later, she had a full-blown meltdown over the note and how awful I am for sitting in the room and studying instead of constantly being out and socializing like she does. She yelled at me about how she can never have friends over. I quietly pointed out that I went back home every weekend and she had the room to herself. Somehow this devolved into her calling her mom and crying hysterically on the phone. I cracked open a book to study and ignored her while covering my ears to shut out her whining. When I uncovered an ear to free my hand to turn a page, I caught snippets of the conversation. It sounded like she was going nuts about everything, mainly me. All she does is study, but also dorm life and school. She switched dorm rooms days later. Now that I think about it, I wonder if the coffee thing was some kind of petty revenge for me annoying her by studying. Who knows? College stress was definitely driving her insane, and I should have just gone elsewhere to study. I caught my flatmate telling lies about me to some mutual friends. I made plans to move out the next month. In the meantime, she went out of town for a week and left her car parked in its usual spot in the parking lot. I threw birdseed on it every morning and evening, so when she came home, the birds wouldn't leave her car alone. It would be amazing if the birds started considering the car their home and protecting it by dive bombing her. Having birds do your bidding is some real supervillain type shirt. There wasn't tons of poop on it. I, too, was expecting this to be a poop story. I used to manage a Starbucks when one of my baristas asked a guy his name and he just flipped the duck out, belittling her, called her stupid, etc. and didn't give a name. Anyway, I take over the handoff drinks and place his drink just on the handoff with no words. I'll add it was a busy store with a lot of people waiting. I just keep putting drinks out for about 10 to 15 minutes and douchebag walks up and picks up his drink that's now lukewarm and goes, "Is this mine?" I just respond with, "I don't know, it doesn't have a name on it." Who the duck goes to Starbucks without knowing they always ask for a name? What a douche cannon. My college roommate had a bad habit of leaving her things in piles on our bathroom floor until there was almost no space to walk to the bath or toilet. Not just clothes but change, jewelry, decks of playing cards, knitting needles, books, hairpins, scarves, earbud headphones, keys, etc. One day she left $40 scattered with the mess, so I put the money in one of her lesser used bathroom drawers. Originally I put it there to protect it from our third roommate and her friends. When I came home the next day and noticed that she was clearing her mess in an effort to find it, I decided not to tell her where the money was until our bathroom floor was spotless. Afterwards, I decided it would be too awkward to tell her the truth, so I left the money wadded up in her hamper as I'd found it on the floor. She was ecstatic when she found it on laundry day. After that her bathroom piles never got quite as big. Damn, that's how you condition someone correctly. Not me, but for my wife. When we were younger and kind of on hard times, she took a pretty shady job at a local factory. The first 2 weeks she was there, she had her lunch stolen at least 5 or 6 times. Even open drinks. I was pretty pissed. A lot of times I would grill for her or make her lunch, and she was going hungry. One night I bought a big ass Gatorade and a box of those women's laxatives, both red in color. Couldn't tell the two were mixed, but we found out who the thief was. My friend's Sprite kept getting stolen even though she wrote her name all over the can. Finally, after the 5th time it happened, she got a habanero, cut it open and rubbed it all over the top of the can and left it in the fridge. We found out who the thief was when that afternoon we hear the office drama queen shriek in her cubicle and run to the water cooler. She never stole anything again. It's always the people who can afford to buy their own food too. Had someone steal a sandwich out of my lunchbox but leave me $1 in its place. Thanks, but I am not a vending machine. My friend did some work for a guy who skipped his bill and never paid him. My friend is so petty he did many things, such as placed fake for sale ads with too good a deal like an ice boat for $1,000 and other numerous ads with the guy's number. Our city is big on garage sales. He posted ads like moving out sale, everything must go, cheap, will be held inside the house, just walk in or ring the doorbell, then put this guy's address on the ad. He also signed him up for numerous free gym memberships and responded to things like car dealership ads with this guy's phone number. He did a lot more. That's just what I can remember. I don't know who I feel more sorry for. Damn, that is some work. Reminds me of when someone owed me $50 and refused to pay, so being in IT I reduced their mailbox size so they could only hold around 10 emails, removed them from distro groups so they missed important group emails, and every day for like 3 months, I went to their account and checked the little box must change password, add next login. We used an elaborate password scheme. Rule number 47, never piss off the IT guy. We were kids staying at the seaside on holiday with our family. My little sister would always make a pretty sandcastle, and the next day it would have been kicked down and she'd cry. We wanted to find out who was doing it, so one day we stayed behind to spy. We watched as a bunch of jerk older boys came by and kicked her castle down, laughing smugly. So the next night, we covered a big beach rock in sand and decorated it. Like clockwork, the jerk kids came with their smug faces and this time kicked a solid rock with all of their might. The yell and the look on their faces was the best revenge ever. That's some Tom and Jerry shirt right there. When I was a kid, my family lived in a house on a street with giant oak trees. Because of the slope of our yard, leaves from half the street would end up in the yard. My mother had really bad asthma and allergies and made us kids rake up the leaves. This was not an easy task. They would get several feet deep if we didn't do it often enough. One day we raked the whole yard into these giant piles for the city to come pick up. It took several hours. The next morning they were scattered all over. We raked them again over several more hours and it happened again. Apparently the neighborhood bully was knocking them over just to be a donk. The next time we made a super huge pile around the fire hydrant hoping he'd kick them and hurt his foot. Nope, this time he decided to do a run and jump. I watched it peeking through the blinds. He ended up breaking several bones. I didn't even feel bad. In response to a, admittedly pretty good, practical joke, I hid 7 battery-powered alarm clocks in the perpetrator's room. Set them to go off one by one roughly every 40 minutes between 2 and 6 am. Last one was hid in the ceiling. Take it easy, Jim Halpert. There's a new truck in my apartment's parking lot. Always taking up multiple spots, always. Weird angles, close to the stairs, all over the place, no assigned parking unfortunately. Months of this. I drive a much smaller car than that, and I'm petty passive aggressive. I've been waiting for my chance. A few days ago was my shot. I got home quite late and there were 0 spots open in my lot. Big truck is double parked again, but there's just enough room on their driver's side for me to sneak in there with my little clown car. I carefully pull in, making sure not to touch anything. No damage, no nothing. My passenger side mirror is half an inch from their driver's side door. I giggled to myself all the way back to my apartment and set an alarm and waited. The following morning, I wake up before the alarm to loud door slamming and stomping around. I check out my window and I see the double parking culprit walking around both vehicles, taking pictures, texting someone, taking more pictures. I'm shaking with glee. They then swallow their pride, let out a visual sigh, and climb in the passenger side, clamber over the center console, and Austin Powers 20-point turn their butts out of the spot. I've never been so proud of myself and my shirty, petty, passive-aggressive ways.